Hi, Michael. Thank you so much. This is the tax lady. I'm just going to go through a couple of questions and just feel free to bring up whatever you like and let's go.
Very good.
All right. So the first question I like to ask all of my visitors is, what is the best career advice that you ever received?
Well, not to keep your head in the sand. Always learn the business that you're involved in, so you're not just a bean counter in the back room. And network. You have to be connected. You have to stay connected with people and keep connected. It's not about connecting once, but staying involved.
Yeah, for sure. So, Michael, I know you're a CFO on the go, but can you tell us a little bit more about your background?
Certainly. I'm a CPA by trade. I spent most of my career in the commercial real estate space, and I applied for a job and I found an opportunity with a real estate development company here in Chicago called Urban Investment Development Company, and they created a bunch of shopping centers here in Chicago, Old Orchard, Oakbrook, River Oak Shopping Center. And back in 1968, they were sold to At the Life and Casualty because they had a opportunity to grow their business. And the next platform of shopping centers they built were indoor malls, Hawthorne Center and Vernon Hills, Stratford Square, Orleans Square. And they owned not just the malls, but all the land around it because they had a home building division. So they built a bunch of homes around these malls, and then all the outlots, they built office buildings and neighborhood shopping centers and things like that. And I spent 10 years with this organization, and I had an opportunity to move out to Denver because they had an office out there, and we built a bunch of office buildings. This is during the mid-'70s when the oil and gas was booming out there because they were doing a lot of exploration on the western slopes. And we used to have gas line. There were lines to get gas because there was a gas shortage like we were having now. And that was a very great opportunity because it was a small development office. So I learned all the ins and outs about real estate development, management, leasing, financing. But after 5 years of being out there, the company kind of changed hands, or out there they did. So I moved back to Chicago. And I got involved in a project out in Boston where we built a huge complex of 2 hotels and a shopping center and a garage in Boston. But then I got a job of putting together a cash flow book for the company because it turned out the company was going to be sold. After 10 years, Aetna decided to dispose of all the companies they bought during the 70s when they were expanding and buying all kinds of non-insurance companies. So I joined another company here based in San Francisco, but they had a bunch of office buildings here in Chicago called the Lurie Company, and they were engaged in trying to do a development here in Chicago, and I was able to join them and help them re-engineer how they were running their office buildings as far as management and leasing. Worked on this development, which never got off the ground, but spent a lot of time helping them try to develop something. But unfortunately, the 80s were the time of syndications and big developers knowing what they were doing, and this company was very conservative. So after 10 years of spending my time there, not getting growth wasn't going to happen there, the market kind of cratered in 89, 90 when we had the S&L financial crisis. And I joined another company that was a syndication company, a big real estate syndication company that kind of blew up because when the government changed the tax laws, they created a bunch of mortgage REITs. The firm was called VMS Realty Partners. They were similar to Belcor and a couple other major firms that were doing the same thing. But when the financial crisis came along, all these loans kind of blew up and they had a big consensual workout. And they brought a new team of people to come in and dispose of all the underlying real estate. So I spent 3 years disposing of a lot of real estate around the country. And one of the REITs recouped a lot of money. And they got the go-ahead from the shareholders to convert it to an equity REIT. So we started buying some low-hanging fruit types of real estate around the country, from industrial apartments and office buildings. And I was part of the due diligence team overseeing the acquisition and then overseeing the management and leasing. And after 3 years of doing that, I joined another fellow that was doing some turnaround work because the market was still kind of fuzzy. And I did that for a couple of years. And then I joined a company called Tucker Development Company right here in my backyard. I live in Highland Park, Illinois. And they were doing some neighborhood grocery-anchored shopping centers. And they were growing because they were doing some bigger deals. And I joined them. And after a year of being with them, I became a glorified bean counter because the 2 principals weren't delegating the right kind of work to me. So that's when I became a CFO on the go, which is a fractional CFO, working with individuals and clients that needed a fresh pair of eyes to help them re-engineer how they do and what they do to improve their bottom line.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I'm just going to go ahead and close it off. Thank you so much for joining today. It's been really fun. And CFO on the go is Mike Nadler, and he's available for anybody who has some inquiries, either business inquiries or just questions. So feel free to reach out to him or I about any connections. And thanks so much for listening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.